Welcome back to Real Clear Politics on SiriusXM. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of RCP, joined now by Richard Porter. He is a former RNC committeeman from the state of Illinois, good friend of the program. Richard, welcome back.
Good to be here, Tom.
So, Richard, there was some news. Our governor, J.B. Pritzker, who's running for re-election, made some news this week. On Friday, he signed 266, I believe, bills, including a couple of others that were about 14 days before that. And I want to talk about some of these bills. Number one, the one that is getting the most attention, he signed on Friday, Richard, which provides educational benefits to people who are here illegally. If students have undocumented status, they would still be available, able to get financial aid and any other associated benefits. And Rep. Mary Miller, Republican from Illinois, called this a slap in the face to voters here. Pritzker's made it very clear Illinois is going to be a sanctuary state, and he is putting his money where his mouth is, or taxpayer money where his mouth is.
Right? I would say, Tom, it's not his money.
Yes.
He's not putting his money there.
What's going on here, Richard? I mean, is this a statement for him for 2028? Is he running for president, or what is he doing here?
Yeah, look, Illinois is unfortunately the unwitting victim of J.B. Pritzker's ambitions. That's just the bottom line. He's doing everything he can to cater to the furthest left wing of the Democratic Party to demonstrate that he's one of them, and he's doing so at our expense. And, the Democratic Party, if there's an 80-20 issue, the left is passionately involved with and committed to the 20% side of that equation. And so JB is merrily diving into that side of every issue. And look, the idea that you're going to take valuable tax dollars and dedicate it to people who are not Illinoisans, they're not Americans, they don't belong here at all. Basically, it's an invitation to the entire world. Come here, say you're going to be a resident of Illinois, and we'll pay for your education. It's nuts. We don't have the resources here, We already have the highest property taxes in the nation. He signed, I think, 49 new taxes this year. And this is a guy that thinks our money is there to prove his values, as he was talking about at the Democratic Day in the fair. It doesn't matter what's right or wrong or what's in the best interest of Illinoisans. He's willing to spend your money to make himself look like he has values that are better than yours. That's essentially what it is.
Well, and Richard, it wasn't but a few weeks ago that JB took to the microphones to make a big deal out of the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill, saying the Medicaid cuts that were included in this bill, right? According to him, we're going to he warned 330,000 Illinoisans could lose their Medicaid. And he was saying what a travesty this was. And, we just don't have the money to cover this. The state doesn't have the. And then he turned around a couple weeks later and is basically handing out money to people who are here illegally. It just doesn't compute.
Which, by the way, part of what that big, beautiful bill did was it forced Illinois not to offer free health care to illegal aliens. And so that was part of his beef. He didn't say it was Illinoisans who were going to lose out under that Medicare provisions of the big, beautiful bill. He is focused on fighting for people who are not Illinoisans. That's the bottom line. It's weird. It's sort of counterintuitive that a governor of a state would be expending his resources and his political capital currying favor for people that theoretically, at least, are not supposed to be voting in Illinois at all because they're not from Illinois. They don't live here. They're not citizens of the United States.
Richard, I have posited this a few times over as we talk about 2028 and who might run and who might be. I was there at those debates when in 2019, all the Democrats were on stage and they were asked to raise their hand if they thought they wanted to decriminalize border crossings. All of them raised their hand, except for one, I think.
Right.
Michael Bennett. And then would you make health benefits for people who are here illegally? They all raised their hand. And, that was supposed to be one of the learnings from this past election, was that Democrats were on the wrong side of the illegal immigration issue. That was one of the drivers of Trump's victory. And my question to people now is, well, okay, you think about who's going to be on the stage in 2028. And if that same questions get asked, do you think they're going to raise their hands again? Or will there be people who don't raise their hands? And clearly, and my guess is they would all probably still raise their hands, because if they
Yeah.
didn't, they'd be in trouble. And J.B. Pritzker is clearly unabashedly saying, yes, I would raise my hand. I want to decriminalize
Yes.
the border, and I want to give health care to people who are here illegally.
Right. I mean, look, part of the problem is this is driven by an ideology that believes that America is inherently evil. And that because America is inherently evil, it's not exceptional or special or unique and something worth protecting. It's just a place to provide benefits to people. There's nothing sort of special about being an American. And Tom, what's going to be happening in the next years, we're going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary of our signing the Declaration of Independence, the birth of our nation. And it's going to be a really interesting dynamic with the left wing of the Democratic Party basically going on their kind of hate America tour right in the face of all the celebration of our 250th anniversary. I think they're putting themselves in a real corner. But look, the dynamic within the Democratic Party is the far left drives the agenda. They're the main kind of reliable voters. You see it happening in New York now. You saw it happen in Chicago a couple of years ago with Brandon Johnson. To be a player in the Democratic Party, you got to curry favor and passion among the passionate socialist left of their party. That's where he's going.
Let me talk about a couple of these other bills that he signed, because there were a lot of them. And I was searching, trying to figure out exactly if I could find a list of all the bills. And there were only a few of them that made the news. One of them was this idea that it was a cryptocurrency regulation bill. And again, there are not a lot of details as to what this, it's theoretically supposed to protect people from cryptocurrency scams. And I'm like, okay, that sounds fine. I have no problem with regulating cryptocurrency and making sure people don't get scammed out of their money. But he used it as an opportunity to sort of slam Donald Trump and the Trump sons and the crypto bros. And it seemed like a little bit more performative. So we'll set that one aside and say, well, it might be good, it might be bad. I don't know. Another one, though, and this is one that even the Chicago Tribune editorial board editorialized against, and a lot of people, this pension sweetener, this was signed a couple of weeks ago, that he signed for Chicago police and firefighting unions, that's going to add like billions to the debt in a city that's already facing I think it's $1 billion shortfall on a yearly basis. Seems kind of fiscally responsible, Richard. Where are we going to get the money to pay for these things? This bill in particular. I mean, I don't understand the plan here.
Well, your house. The bottom line is they're spending the equity in your house that's going to be captured through higher property taxes. That's the only.
We got our new property tax bill, and it's like 50% higher. I mean, it's like crazy. The lawyers that all, they send you these mailers and like, we can help you fight your property taxes. My wife was like, call this guy immediately. I mean, it's really crazy
it's
here.
funny because that's part of the whole hustle. Madigan and Burke both are in jail or on their way to jail. I guess Burke just came out of jail, but they ran these legal practices that were premised on the idea that you get a high tax bill, you hire them, and they'll get the tax bill reduced, and they'll capture a third of the difference in the savings. So it's a funny
That's exactly what
Tom,
yeah.
because you end up feeling better because you brought your taxes down from what they were originally. You end up paying one of the made members of the Democratic machine a third of the savings. They put it in their pocket and they fund their machine to come back at you with higher taxes again next year. It's a crazy hustle that we end up paying for by hiring these lawyers.
And by the way, I don't want, you're a lawyer. I don't want to impugn all lawyers, but it's this crazy cottage industry that has grown up around these property tax increases.
Chicago.
And you're exactly right. I mean, they knock your bill down $5,000, they take 1,500 or $2,000 for themselves, and you feel like you've just won the lottery practically. I mean, it's
saved a few thousand. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also paid for the bill to keep going up because you just made member of the machine. So, but there's another bill, Tom, out there that was worth flagging, which is it's one that it was Senate Bill 325 or something like that. But it was basically an expansion of the reach of Illinois courts. So it's a giveaway to the Illinois trial lawyers. And a couple things to note about this, like this bill, like the immigration bill, he's focusing on giving things to special interests like the trial lawyers at the expense of the general interest of Illinoisans. So unless you're part
But
of a
just to set this
special
up, this
pleading
was
group,
another bill that like a lot of people warned against, said don't do this, and I think it was brought up sort of at last minute by the trial lawyers and inserted, and he went ahead and signed it. And tell everybody what it does.
well, so what it does, it basically expands the reach of Illinois courts. You have to, typically there are rules about how much of a business you need to have here in order to sue a company in Illinois. And this makes it much easier to sue any company operating anywhere in the world, so long as they have some kind of tangential touching of Illinois. But there's a procedural element to that bill that I want to flag for you, Tom, because it goes to the heart of kind of the corrupt nature of our legislature. Our Constitution has a couple provisions about how to pass a bill. One provision says it has to be a majority vote. Another provision, just like the majority vote provision, says the bill has to be read on the floor of each of the House and the Senate 3 times on 3 different days before the bill can be voted on. The purpose of this is to make sure there's no midnight legislation that's pushed through before the public is aware of what's in the bill. So it's just as important in the Constitution as the majority vote provision. Well, routinely, what's been occurring is the Democrats pass what they call a shell bill. It does nothing. Basically, just has some, innocuous provisions with an innocuous title to the bill as well. And they'll read that bill 3 times in the House, and they'll read it 2 times in the Senate. And then some will do a gut and replace, and they'll pour an entirely new bill on an entirely new topic. And they'll just read the title again one more time, and boom, they'll vote on it and send it back to the House. And they'll take the view that this bill, which they can then pass in literally about 15 minutes, satisfies the 3 reading constitutional rule that says, you can't push things through overnight like that. So they did it with this bill, and the House Republicans, to their credit, are challenging it because it doesn't satisfy the 3 readings rule. Now, the Democrats' view is, as long as the House Speaker and the leader of the House have certified the bill, that's all that's necessary to satisfy the Constitution. So basically, you have these fraudulent, certifications, and the courts have been accepting it. So this will be an interesting question for the Illinois Supreme Court. Is this kind of a dodge, this kind of a gut and replace to get around the slowing down process that's required by the Constitution, the 3 readings in both houses? Are they going to put up with this? And we'll find out. I mean, it says something about the partisan nature of our court that this is even an issue, because it obviously fails to satisfy that requirement in the Constitution.